Hello everybody, it's Jamie from On Shipping Lines and welcome to a kind of special video. This is one of my first videos I've done in a while where you're actually hearing me talk in a convenient way or besides a script. I'm sure you saw the title. We are talking ship and I've taken a very special guest with me, Nautical Study. Nautical Study has been a big inspiration and example for me in this community. And basically what we'll do, we'll interview him in this video. We'll hear what his favorite ships are, how he came into ships, and so on. And we'll see where this conversation takes us. So, it's been a while.
Hello there.
There he is.
Here I am.
There he is. So, please, for the people who don't know you, I'm sure a lot of people do, but for the people who don't know you, introduce yourself.
I'm Marcus. I run a YouTube channel called Nautical Study, and I've been doing ship history, sort of ocean liner oriented, for the past 3 or 4 years now. There was a bit of a gap in there, but I'm pretty excited to be back, to be making videos again. I try to do a comedy oriented histories, kind of differentiate myself, but I'm crazy about the ocean liner community, and I really appreciate Old Shipping Lines for having me here today.
Amazing. Well, I'm very glad you're with me. I'm showing the people the screen right now, the your channel where they can find you. Um, as you all can clearly see, he makes some amazing videos. One of his recent one has been the banana boat, an absolute recommender. So, Marcus, tell us how did you excuse me actually come to this community? How did you get to learn about ships and stuff? Please.
So I, like many children, had an obsession with the Titanic when I was in elementary school, which is ages 8 or 9 in that area. And that obsession kind of ebbed and flowed. It came in waves, but early in high school, I kind of realized my interest in ships never really had gone away. I would always draw ships. I would draw battleships, ocean liners, all different kinds.
Mm.
And getting into college, I realized I wanted to work for the United States Merchant Marine. And I made that realization at some point in high school, around the same time that I had discovered channels like The Great Big Move and Tom Linsky. Finding those channels was really fundamental to me because it showed me that there were people who had this interest and there was a community around it that was willing to watch content of it. All in all, I mean, I'm pretty happy that I found the community and was able to get into it, as I'm sure you are.
Personally, for me, it began when I was 11 years old. I'm now 23. For the people who don't know, I'm an old boy. But basically, it was on a Sunday, and we didn't have anything to do. And there was a poster of the Titanic exhibition in Amsterdam. I live in the Netherlands, and my father was like, "Well, let's go there." And as a small child, I didn't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got there, I was so impressed by the story of the ship, its passengers, the crew, the sinking, that I basically got a small book. It's I still have it in my collection. The first Titanic book I got, it's still here. I studied the Titanic, studied other ocean liners, and from there we are here. Started my own Instagram channel, posting pictures, and then I featured in a video of a content creator who sadly isn't anymore on the platform.
Well, I have a similar instance. We have a Titanic museum in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and
Yes.
that's only about 4 hours from me. So I drove out there when I was a little kid, and my parents took me there, and I remember that was a pretty transformative experience, really just getting into the Titanic. And I still actually, right over here, I still have a magazine from around that era. It was somewhere back there. Oh well. Big thing for the 100th anniversary of the Titanic sinking, which I believe was 13 years ago now.
Wow.
Happy New Year, everybody. So I still have that. Still have a couple models that I got there, and you know, it's funny how those little stories, those little experiences become so important.
Exactly, exactly. And I think for the whole community of ocean liners, we are basically quite young. You're young, I'm young, and I think it's amazing to see that the history of the ocean liner continues to go on. It continues to reach other people, if you know what I mean. Um,
Hmm.
my English isn't the best when I'm in this scenario, so I'm looking for words. But I hope you get the point, right? We are carrying the
Mhm.
story of the ocean liners in the next generation, and your videos quite clearly show your passion. So, how did you start your channel?
So I started my channel completely on a whim
Mm,
because really releasing that Olympic video was a challenge for myself.
yeah,
Would I be able to do this? Would I be able to learn the basics of editing and kind of copying styles from other channels that I liked? Take a little bit of humor from channels like Salmonella Academy or Internet Historian and integrate that. And admittedly, far my least polished.
yeah.
It is really,
But
yeah. That's my connection isn't good. Let me.
so for the people watching at home, I can see Marcus right now, and he has an amazing White Star flag on his back wall, as well with a poster of the Campania or Lusitania.
It is Carmania. You're very
Carmania.
close.
Carmania. There you go. Is it original or did you?
It's a rate print. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've looked in antique stores, but I've never been able to find an original. Unfortunately, I
Yeah.
wish I could.
That one that doesn't sell for millions of dollars, or it's crazy. It's crazy how much they ask for those memorabilia, but once you own it, I think it must be amazing to have it in your collection.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I mostly have models. I mean,
Lego models, right? At least the ones that I saw.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of brick. What's the name again? Brick.
Histo brick.
Hisso brick.
I was fortunate enough that they sent me a free one to promote. I didn't
Wow.
think I was worthy of that. I was astonished.
You're giving yourself way too less credit. For sure. For sure. So, my next question to you then would be, if you, or by the way, no, please continue how you started your channel, because you cut out at the end with the Olympic video. How you wanted to recreate? Sorry.
So my Olympic video was not great.
Mm,
Um, it was unpolished. The humor in it was absent, aside from a joke about the rapper Ice Cube. I think that was maybe the only joke. And I don't regret making the video. I just want to recreate it. I've thought
mm,
about doing another one just now that I have my bearings and I know what I'm doing.
yeah.
But starting my channel and making that video was a test really to see if I had the ability to. And after that video, I released a video on the Confederate submarine program, and that video was a total flop.
Mm,
And that was discouraging, but in many ways, it kind of taught me that I needed to find my niche, that I needed to stick with content people would want and that I would enjoy making.
exactly. Exactly. I think I recently discovered the same thing. For me, it's of course I think for us both it doesn't matter about the clicks. Of course, it matters presenting the history in
Mm-hmm.
an amazing way. Um, but I realized that after my Empress of Britain video with the St. Louis, there was a kind of difference. But I was like, there are so many ships. I have books on so many ships that have such amazing stories, and that nobody makes videos about it. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe I should make a video. And I always wait how it goes on, and if it doesn't perform as good as the others, I'm more than glad. I mean, then the stories are
Mm-hmm.
already out there, you know. That's how I see it. But I can understand with your submarine how it could have been discouraging for sure, for sure. With your humor, because I think it's how you present your videos with your humor. It's a new thing in the community, because
Mm-hmm.
normally people they stick to the facts of the ship. They tell the story. They tell the story of the wreck. They tell the story of the ship, and then the video ends. But you have that kind of humor. How came that up? How did that come up in your mind?
Adding the humor to the videos kind of when I originally made the Olympic video, there was a lot more humor I wanted to add to it, but I thought people wouldn't take it seriously.
Mm,
Um, or sometimes a joke will just fail. And,
yeah,
you know, that's humbling, but it's something you just have to prepare for. And I have every now and again gotten a comment or two that says, this channel is too silly for me, or the humor doesn't add anything. But It's like you said, I'm not doing it for the clicks. I'm doing it because I enjoy making it, and I've heard people like my humor. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it is. I'm filling a niche on on the ocean liner community.
Mhm.
That there isn't a lot of humor based channels, but I don't want to discourage people from making their own humor based channels in the ocean liner community. I want people to do that. I want those funny videos out there too, so because I think it's a good way to bring in people who aren't necessarily as interested in the ships.
I think it's an amazing way of content making, and I think it's amazing that you do it in that way, like you said. So, if it comes to your favorite ships, like your favorite ships, your number one favorite ships, what would that be?
It's hard for me to pick a favorite ship. I've sailed on a couple in my time. As far as ocean liners are concerned, I've always been very partial to the SS Kaiser Wilhelm de Grosso. I love that ship. It is a fantastic ship, as well as the RMS Adriatic too. I really love the Big Four. They are just aesthetically beautiful ships, very grand. And the Adriatic is different from its sisters, just a little bit. I mean, Turkish Bath. It was the only one that was never biggest in the world. Those little differences, it makes the ship stand out to me. And I love a ship that really stands out in its time.
So for me, basically, for my number one favorite ships, and there are many, they are the lesser known ships. Of course, I love the Titanic because that she brought me into the community, and she will always have a special place for that in my heart. My number one favorite ship today is the RMS Empress of Ireland. I
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
it's a very intriguing story, and she's getting a little bit more into the frame again, into the
Hmm.
community because she was very much forgotten. Also because I'm saying this off the cuff of my head. I might be wrong with the date, but when she sank was the maiden voyage of the Cunard liner RMS Aquitania. But she has such an amazing story, and I have basically all the books on the about the Empress of Ireland. I all have them in my collection. Some are good, some are I wouldn't say recommended because, but that is because of the lack of information that they had at the time, compared to now, of course. And I've seen in the community that there are two amazing books coming about the Empress of Ireland. I'm sure you know Ocean Liners Designs, right? Michael Brady. Yeah, when he
Fantastic channel. And a great Twitter too. I love that. I love their community.
man, I consider him the Messiah. I consider him the Messiah of the community. But when he did the video about the Empress of Ireland, I was like, yes, finally. I couldn't recreate the documentary he did himself, so I was very glad he did it with the amazing animations of Jack Gibson and stuff like that. So let me think, because for the people at home, I didn't prepare any questions. I was like, I'm gonna invite this guy on. We're gonna talk about ships. We're gonna shoot the shit. Your shipwrecks. What are the most your shipwrecks? What do you find the most interesting?
I would say the most intriguing shipwreck to me is probably the SS Republic off the American East Coast, the $1 million shipwreck, as it's called, because of the gold reserve that was in her hold when she sank. And there are so many different companies that have tried to get into the wreck, get the gold out, but they have all failed. There's even a terrible History Channel documentary about it. So that's always been one of my favorite wrecks. But I also really love super well preserved wrecks, like
Mm.
the Britannic. I want to say, like, you can, in all of the photos, you can see the light of the sun illuminating it. That's how close it is to the surface in the Aegean Sea. I don't want to throw a number out for how deep it is in case it's wrong, but
Yeah.
diving kind of scares me a little bit. But if I become a diver, I would really love to dive the wreck of the SS Britannic.
Oh yes. Oh yes. That's on my list for myself as well. Have you also seen the most recent pictures, the found of the wreck of the Britannic? Can you hear me still?
Now I can,
Oh,
yes.
okay. No worries. I can.
It's
But my question was, did you see? Have you seen the most recent pictures they did of the made of the Britannic?
No, I haven't. I saw an article about it a couple months ago,
Mm,
and they always show that picture of one of the staircases,
yeah.
um, but I haven't.
But I, of course, when the pictures came out, I was like, I posted them and I copied them straight to my Instagram, of course, with the credit and all
Hmm.
of the most recent expedition. There's so many pictures, man. You don't have an Instagram, right, of the nautical study?
No, I don't. I've thought about making one.
You should, man. It's amazing. It's an amazing community there as well. The only problem then is if you have so many posts on Instagram, you can get lost into the pictures of the ships you're trying to search. So when it comes to movies and stuff like that, what's your favorite movies of ships or series? Do you
I'm
like?
big into historical movies, especially war movies.
Yeah.
Greyhound is a pretty good movie for the Navy. Midway is just okay. Pearl Harbor is not good. That's not a
Mm.
good movie. Um, More recently, I actually watched a war movie produced in the Netherlands
Really?
um, about the Dutch resistance. Yes, I'm trying to recall what it was called.
Could it be named in Dutch? It says De Slacht om de Schelde.
Yes, yes, it is. The
Yeah,
Battle of Schelde. Yes,
it's an amazing
it's a
movie.
fantastic movie.
It's an amazing movie for sure. Yes. I will send you the pictures then, my friend. I'm sorry.
Of course, and I'll put them up.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're amazing to see. So yeah, the Slag om de Schelde movie is an amazing movie for sure. Um, I I
Hmm.
I love the way how they portrayed, to say the least, the young Dutch farmer who became a
Hmm.
member of the Wehrmacht, and you see that flashback of nightmare of him with his parents.
Hmm.
In some ways, and
Yes.
it sticked very close. I found it very interesting scene.
I particularly like the scene where they're in the interview. It's the mother, it's the daughter and her father, who's the doctor,
Yeah,
and the German officer is like, "What did she say?" And the Wehrmacht Dutchman, he had the opportunity to save her, but he still didn't take it. I
yeah,
mean, it really those moments really just make a movie fantastic.
because he was conflicted and scared at the
Hmm.
same time. Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
I agree for sure. But you didn't like you found the Midway movie okay? Of
It's
course.
okay.
Yeah.
My favorite movie of all time is actually Dunkirk.
Oh
Um,
yes.
Christopher Nolan's.
Mm,
And I occasionally try to watch movies, international movies. I've seen All Quiet on the Western Front.
mm.
Um, my knowledge of German is decent. I have an okay knowledge of German. It's not stellar. As you know, Americans don't know hardly as many languages as Europeans do. Um,
Yeah.
it is it's impressive. We are very impressed. I will say that. As much as I make fun of other countries, I do love other cultures, and being that's part of being a sailor is getting to experience different cultures. Right now I'm trying to work for the U.S. Navy's merchant marine side called Military Sea Lift Command.
Mm.
um, but for all of those viewers out there who are looking for a career, I would recommend looking into the merchant marine. It pays very well. You get to meet and see all kinds of wonderful things, especially if you don't want to work at a desk your whole life.
I wanted myself to join the Marine as well, the Navy, the Dutch Navy.
Mm-hmm.
But with my education, it won't seem to work. And also my mother. So we are Italians, and Italian mothers, they're very protective of their children. So she doesn't like the idea at all. And I'm basically, I will say it out loud, I'm a mama's boy. So if she doesn't like an idea, I won't do it. So I'm now thinking of maybe going for the Coast Guard. Going for
Okay, that's excellent. I know the Netherlands has a extremely extensive maritime history,
yeah.
lots and lots of history with the Dutch East India Company, and I find all of that extremely interesting. The Dutch East India Company, I've tried making videos on in the past, but nothing ever materialized.
You mean the history with the wooden boats, right? The VOC, as you call them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The
That's the
trade, yeah, the Spice Wars, and the
slaves.
it's an interesting era of history. Although it's not exactly what my viewers subscribe to the channel to watch. So
Well, in the Netherlands, I heard it. I hear it quite often that the people outside of the Netherlands, they love that kind of they love that era because how the Netherlands performed in that time.
yeah.
But here, basically, in the when you go to school, because it's a subject that is very well covered when you go to school in the Netherlands, the Dutch East
Mhm.
Indies. Um, they give like 5 minutes in a talk, like being, oh yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing how they did it compared to the British and stuff like that. And then they go straight to the dark times of the Dutch East Indies, of course, with the slave trade.
Colonization,
Yeah.
yes.
So here in the Netherlands, at least in my school, it was considered one of the darkest chapters of the Netherlands, the history of the Netherlands.
It always seems to be that way. I mean, Rome got so large because through conquest and war. I mean,
Mm,
it's the same with the United States. I mean, everyone always likes to romanticize the American West, but really it was a horrible time to be alive.
yeah.
I mean, it's just it's always like that. Sometimes the best eras can also be the darkest.
Mm, mm. I agree. I agree. Um, well, we still have the Holland America line with the SS Rotterdam being
Yes.
preserved.
Hmm.
Man, I would love.
I have coasters.
Yeah, I would. If you ever come to the Netherlands, Marcus, I would love to host you on the Rotterdam.
Hmm. I would be honored.
It's amazing ship. It's an amazing ship. Quite a funny story is that what I discovered was so basically there might be a connection in my family to the Rotterdam when she was in service. One of my great uncles, he was a pianoist for the Holland America line. He never told what ship he went on, but if you connect the timelines and if you view the passenger ships that were at the time,
Mhm.
it's most likely that he was on the Rotterdam when she went to from Rotterdam to New York, um, or maybe the New Amsterdam in her later years. But I very much doubt
Mhm.
that if you put the time zones together. So I think he went on the Rotterdam. And basically, the last time that I went there with a press conference that Mike Brady was also part of, he did an amazing talk about the rise of ocean liners. Um, I used that opportunity as well to like ask the owners and managers like, well, this is my name. My uncle he went on the ship, and very funny enough is that some sons of crew members at that time
Mhm.
they remember my last name being one of the crew. So it's a
Oh.
very fun connection. So I haven't they haven't got back to me yet, the managers and historians, with the exact name of the pianist, because of course it's like a huge manifest of all the crew.
Mhm.
So they haven't got back to me, but I think he was an
That is
awesome.
an awesome story. That is really cool.
Yeah,
That's so cool to have a connection like that.
yeah. That's Rotterdam is our Dutch pride and joy at the moment. We have other ships, but Rotterdam is like the queen, the Titanic when it comes to Dutch museum ships. But you in America, you also guys have amazing museum ships as well, because of course you have the Queen Mary.
Hmm.
You have the big battleship, the Texas, Indian.
Yes, that's actually it's under construction. It's under repair right now in Galveston,
Yeah.
and we've got a couple battleships. They love preserving Navy ships more than ocean liners, but I went to Ireland a couple
Mm.
years ago and got to see the Nomadic,
Oh
and that
yes.
really was something special. That really
Right.
was something special.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I went. I when I was like 16, I went there as well with my father. I was extremely ill at the time when I went to Ireland, so I didn't have the best of times. So I need to revisit for sure in a better condition. Then I'm sure you knew also the whole current situation of the United States then.
Yes.
So if we get a little bit into the drama of this
Yes.
interview, what's your opinion on the United States? What do you think as an American? Because there are many Americans who are split on this subject.
So, as an American, my grandparents actually came over on the SS United States. My
Mm,
nana and grandpa did. Um, my grandfather was stationed in West Germany in the early 60s. And they still have a couple menus from it and a couple postcards. And I love ship postcards. That's one of my more nerdy pastimes. But honestly, I think the problem is that the SS United States lacks something that the Queen Mary or the Queen Elizabeth II or the Rotterdam has.
mm,
And I think it is a stylistic issue. When you go in the Queen Mary is a time capsule of Art Deco, of these beautiful architectural stylings. And it's the same with the Rotterdam. And even the Queen Elizabeth has some beautiful stylings. And even if the SS United States is this extremely iconic ship in
yeah,
culture, especially around New York City, um, I think even if they were able to save it for another 5 years, it would probably wind up being turned into a reef.
yeah.
So I sent money to the conservancy. I actually have an SS United States hat, but I don't think that it's going to get saved. I would like it to, but at a certain point, I don't think it's worth the fight.
I'm conflicted. I don't like the outcome of course, but I think
Mhm.
at another point it's better than what could have happened, like her being scrapped completely. In one way, she's still visitable to the audience. You will need to have a diver's license, of course, but you could still visit her.
Mhm.
So if I should compare it to her being scrapped, and if I would look at the whole situation of her being sold and then museum and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, this is the better outcome for the vessel. Yeah,
If anything was going to happen, I mean, I think this was really the inevitable outcome. And it's a shame because it's been 50 or so years since ocean liners were extremely relevant.
yeah.
Um, and of course, there's the one last ocean liner still sailing, but I don't know. It's sad to see a bygone era slowly trickling away like
Yeah,
that with the SS United States, and but I guess it's just what happens.
yeah. And I think also because of course then for you it's the story that I have with Rotterdam, the personal connection you have with the United States. So for your family, it must be completely different then as well. The whole subject. Because where did your family come from then?
So my family is really from all over
Ah,
Europe. I'm a mutt. That's what we call it here. Um, but my mother's family is mostly German and Swedish.
wow.
Uh, but my father's family, we have no idea. Probably English. We say that his family just emerged from the hills one day. Because, I mean, they've just always been in Tennessee.
Yeah.
I mean, always just been kind of around the South.
Mm.
And I mean, they still are. But if I had to guess, I would say I'm probably mostly German, Dutch, Swedish, and English.
Also Dutch.
Very, yeah, very Germanic. Yeah, I am. I'm a little bit Dutch.
Wow.
But I feel a little. It's always weird for me when Americans say like, "Oh, I'm 6% Scottish, 7% Spanish." Like it's like I feel like if you talked to someone from Scotland or Spain, they would probably be like, "I don't think you are."
Exactly. I think you can start making those statements if you can actually talk the language.
Yes, exactly. If you have that culture, um, I
Yeah.
know there's a lot of Italian Americans, especially around Long Island and New York City, and it's kind of a joke that Italian Americans think that they're from Italy. Um, but even then, I mean, many of them can speak Italian. I mean, most of them are actually Sicilian, so many of them speak Sicilian. But
Yeah.
still, it's a connection. I mean, that's a different instance.
I might piss off the Italian Americans, but the way how we view them is we agree with them on many things, except how they put salads in their Sunday dinner with the pasta. You don't mix those things. For traditional
Uh,
Italian, it's like you have the pasta in a bowl, and then you have another bowl with the salad. And once the pasta is finished, then you can start with the salad, not put them together. So that's the past where the traditional Italians and Dutch Italian Americans diverge.
Now, have you ever been to the United States?
Never, never.
Some of the things they do to Italian food here would disgust you. They disgust me.
Well,
I'm a food purist.
I've heard that they have chicken parm in America, which is basically parmesan. Instead of with the eggplants, they put chicken in it.
Mhm.
I find that
It's
quite.
true.
I would love to taste that. I would love to taste it because I think it would combine very well if you add some mozzarella in that as well. No, but I've never been to the United States. My father has. He has been to quite
Hmm.
some places. But no, personally, I've never been. I think the only reason for me to go to the United States would go maybe to go to the museum ships. At least I want in the coming years at least one time to go to the United States and visit the Queen Mary. I want to have done that in my
Hmm.
lifetime before um, her. How Michael Brady said her expiry date comes to an end.
Yeah.
I don't think it will happen though. I don't think it will happen. I think in a very funny subject. I think if ever the Queen Mary is a subject to scrapping, I think Great Britain would buy her back straight away.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. They just put millions of dollars into restoring her the last couple years. I mean, there was a lot of pictures going around. I don't know if you saw of the Queen Mary and all of her lifeboat davits were empty
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they were restoring all of her lifeboats.
yeah,
It's, I mean, the work is being done.
yeah. They're bringing her back to former glory. Yeah. And also one ship I'm in love with, and that is the I came across her from in a video with part-time explorer, the Milwaukee Clipper.
Yes.
Yes, I never knew about that ship, and I saw the video of Part Time Explorer, and I was like, wow, that is an amazing story, an amazing
Hmm.
story. There's actually a book about her that I really want, but from some reason they don't send to Europe, so I need to find a American who will send it to me. I have some ideas, but I will need to ask.
Hmm.
Um, but
If you can't, just let me know. I can probably make that happen.
that's very kind of you. That's very kind of you. One of my favorite museum ships that I'm also making a video about. I did a collaboration with the museum. They've sent me like the most detailed information about her in her older days and to where she's
Mhm.
now. And I've sent a script to one of my contacts person there, but he still needs to reply, and I hopefully he will because I put a lot of time and effort in the script. But she's called the SS Hestmanden, and
Okay.
she's a museum ship from Norway, and she is just a very cute small cargo ship.
Hmm.
She was built in 1911, and she survived World War Two. No, World War One, World War Two, and she only got in danger of being scrapped once, and then Norway like straight brought her up. She is an actual sailing museum ship, so she goes to ports in Norway, and she goes to
Hmm.
like nautical events. They sail her to there as well. And it's an amazing ship, the Hestmanden, gray cargo ship.
Oh, that's fantastic.
With you being I love Sweden and Norway, and I've seen some nautical movies of Norway as well, and I think Norway makes their movies excellent when it comes to nautical history. Excellent. I will send you. I don't know if you know the movie, but it's called Arctic Convoy. Do you know the story of the convoy that's one of the only stories that a convoy actually broke up.
No, I don't. I'm not familiar with this. Is this a film?
Yeah, it's a film, but it's a documented film. It's based on the real thing. So
Hmm.
when the German pocket ships, when they were hunting convoys, there was a convoy PQ7 or PQ17, I think PQ7, and they were sailing from I'm not sure, or Norway or the United Kingdom to Russia to give supplies. And the British escort, they got a message at the time saying like, oh yeah, the German pocket ships are in your way. There are close to your vicinity, sink them. And basically, they left the convoy unprotected, and extremely many of their ships of that convoy were sunk. And that is in that movie, the Arctic Convoy. They show how it is how it is for a small cargo ship to be all of a sudden without protection from the big guns, being in the Arctic waters with enemies below and enemies from above. It's an amazing movie. I think you will enjoy it.
And I find those convoys very interesting. There is a great movie that I'd mentioned earlier, Greyhound. It's decent, but it's more on the Navy side of things.
Yeah.
Um, there's a good book I have here, and that is also about the convoys and the Rose class of corvettes that
Uh,
helped defend them, called The Cruel Sea
oh
by
yes.
Nicholas Montserrat.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie as well? The adaptation?
I saw that there was one. Is it any good?
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's on Netflix. You can see it on Netflix actually. The Cruel Sea.
This is not sponsored by any VPN. This is
Yeah,
not a
yeah. I'm
NordVPN
not paid by
sponsor or
Netflix.
anything like that.
I'm not paid by Netflix. No, 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 no. For sure not.
No, although if you want Nord or Netflix, hit me up. Let me know.
Make a ocean liner movie again, like a movie they did like 1866, but then actually with an ocean liner and stuff like that.
hmm
So
Not like Titanic 2.
my
I
God,
mean,
forget about Titanic 666.
oh,
Don't
oh, what an awful movie. What an awful name.
The whole influencer saga with the girl and the man being with their selfie sticks and stuff like that. I was like, please, that go away with that. Oh, that
It's
was a
terrible.
disastrous movie. No, no, no. There was no go. There's actually one movie that I'm very curious about. It has some controversy. It's called Titanic, and then I forget the name. It's about the trial, the American trial of the Titanic.
I've heard
Um,
about this movie,
yeah. So
The
it's
Inquiries.
yeah, it's very very. There's a lot of drama surrounding it. I haven't seen it, so I can't give my review. But from what I've read, it could be better. It could be better. I think the Titanic 2012
hmm
series was better. Have you seen that
hmm
one, the 2012? What did you think of that, by the way? Oh, you haven't. Oh wow. Oh, you should. You should.
Where would I watch that?
YouTube. There's a there's a guy who actually posted all the episodes on YouTube
Oh, I love
without
that.
without being copyrighted. Without being copyrighted. So that's amazing how he managed to accomplish that. Um, if you go for historical accuracy, don't watch storyline. It's basically a storyline of following the first class passengers, the second class passengers, third and crew.
hmm
So it's a very interesting storyline. But with actual sets and research, they lacked. Um, so when you if you the sets are incorrect for the interior sets, at least they're
Yeah.
incorrect. The interior sets. But the um, what the series has very well, and I think you should start with that episode. It's episode 4, and that covers the sinking. That they did that extremely well with the Titanic like breaking up in the background, being completely dark. You don't see the ship. You hear the screaming, but you don't see anything. They covered that very well. So
That's how to do it.
I would just watch episode 4, and then you would be like, well, I just need to watch this episode, and I'm good. Because of course you know
hmm
the historical figures. Um,
Are you familiar with the extremely famous account book, A Night to Remember by Walter Lord?
oh
This
yes,
this is the definitive book about the
yes,
Titanic,
yes, yes. I have.
taken from accounts of the passengers, and reading it is actually very depressing. A lot of times with Titanic and Empress of Ireland or Lusitania, which I've also got Eric Larson's book on the Lusitania there,
Yeah.
but it's just you read the accounts and you kind of get lost in the beauty of the ship, and then you forget about the actual how horrible the sinking was, how
Yes.
terrible and just gruesome it is for those people who had to endure it.
Yes.
Um, but
I think
that's why we have the media.
one book that I have, which I think will find very interesting as well, is so I have the Night to Remember, but I have a different version. It was made by
Hmm.
the I hope I say the name correctly, Socialio Society, and
Hmm.
basically they did a reprint of the cover. So it's hardbook cover. It's an
Hmm.
amazing newspaper. It's in a newspaper case of the Titanic. So you actually
Hmm.
get the book outside of the paper case. You actually have a deck plan of the ship as well. And there are pictures accompanying the Night to Remember book. So that's the one I have. I don't have the original paperback, but I have the new revised version. Let's say it. It has the same information, same pages,
Hmm.
just a different kind of hardcover. But one book I want to read as well, and it's quite a big book. So for the people at home, I'm sorry that we're not showing our faces. I've fallen
Hmm.
ill, so I'm not fit for camera or anything. But this is of course a pre-recorded video. But one book I'm planning to read very soon is called I don't know if you see it. The Titanic Disaster Hearings, the official transcripts of the 1912 Senate investigation.
Fantastic. Preface by James Cameron too.
Preface, yeah, the most important part. Um,
Yes.
but it's quite a thick book. In total, it has like 563 pages. Goes through all the days. So it has, for example, first day. Then the inquiry is about J. Bruce Ismay, of course. Arthur Henry Rostron, Charles Lightoller, Harold
Hmm.
Thomas Cottam, a wireless operator of the Carpathia, and it's all like in a inquiry style written. So you have the names, of course, of Mr. Ismay and the Senator Smith, but it's all very inquiry written, so it's very detailed. Um, and it's also this book is also covered or being advertised as these are the first accounts of the people when they got off the ship. Very interesting book, highly recommended. Yes. Almost
Definitely for any Titanic collection.
Oh yes, yes. I've also with the upcoming Titanic books, I've pre-ordered all of them.
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
all of them. Yes, the six I've pre-ordered. George Behe is also releasing a new book. I've been pre-ordering that. There's also another one going into analysis of the Titanic. I've pre-ordered that, so I've this in April. A whole my parents will be like questioning why do you have so many packages at one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully that
Just locked up in your room reading them.
yeah,
Of course.
exactly, exactly. So we're running up to an hour in this interview, and I've been honored talking to you, and I feel like I got to know you in this small um hour. The guy behind the camera.
Hmm.
um, it's been an amazing experience and honor for me. Are there any things you would like to talk about, or are any things you want to discuss further along? Do you have questions or anything like that?
I'm trying to think if there's anything off the top of my head. Um,
Put you on the spot here.
it's okay. I had a question for you, and now I can't remember it.
Was it about why the Italian ships don't float?
Yeah.
No.
Maybe. No. Well, either way, I'm glad that you enjoyed the banana boat video. I'm glad that there are still people who are keeping the community going, and we have new people, new channels every day,
Yeah,
and of course there will always be the clickbait.
of course. And being like an influencer saying the Titanic didn't sink at all. It was the Olympic, and then being like millions of
Yeah. And you're just going to decept people. I can't tell you how many people I've met here think, who will just like, I'll mention something offhand about the Titanic, and they'll be like, "Well, did you know it was actually its sister ship, Olympia?" And I'm like,
Olympia.
everything you just said was wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, Olympia. I also have people over here saying, yeah, did you hear about the theory that actually a fire sank the Titanic? And I'm like, no.
Mhm.
It made, for sure, it had some impact on the sinking, but no, that wasn't the reason.
No, and the coal fire, I mean, it was maintained. I mean, the way they maintain fires on ships is through fire boundaries.
Yeah,
They spray the bulkheads, and the fire was contained. So even if
yeah,
it was weakening the metal, that surely would not have been enough for it to just break out the side.
yeah,
I mean, the conspiracy theories, they will always come up with new ones.
yeah.
Even that a cursed mummy sank the Titanic, the one in
Yes.
its hold.
Or Bruce Ismay being the villain, the Thanos of killing all those people. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
start with that.
Yes,
Poor
for
man.
whatever reason they'll come up with next, whether it's
Yeah,
preserving the Federal Reserve, getting rid of the Federal Reserve,
yeah.
trying to
World War
eliminate
One, where
enemies.
there was ammunition on board the Titanic. Oh, it goes. You could write a book on all the conspiracy theories that have been made about the about the sinking. I do have one
Yes,
final question for you though. Um, so
of course.
what can we expect of nautical future of a nautical study? Sorry, in the future.
So creating videos, unfortunately, has to be my pastime. I can't make it my full time. So that's why there's so much space between videos. And this last video I produced was, I want to say, like 14 months after my previous video on the Vaterland.
Yeah,
I would love to produce more videos. It can only really happen when I have big break times. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to produce some more videos, but I can't make any promises. I will say this video will be coming out, evidently because you're watching it right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
He is still alive.
the banana boat video took way longer than I anticipated. I have a couple ideas brewing around, and of course, in the comments, any video suggestions for either of us, please leave them below. Um,
Exactly.
I'm sure we'd be eager.
Exactly. So basically, guys, that was the end of the interview. Again, a big thank you to Marcus. It was amazing having you. I will leave a link to, of course, all Marcus' socials in the description down below. Um, and I'm very glad that you were my first guest. I really am, and I hope for all the content creators out there, if they are watching, I hope that you would be interested if I contact you. I would love to have a video also. I'm thinking maybe the next one being big old boats, hopefully, or
Great channel.
amazing channel, or Shipwrecks Sunday. We've done a collab before, a live stream collab, but I would love to hear a story how she came into this community as well and other things like that. So again, a big thank you to Marcus and everybody. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Be sure to check out our latest videos as well and our other videos. If you haven't subscribed to us, what are you guys doing? We're the best. No, just joking. No, but I'm making this outro way too long. I'm not good at outros when it comes to this. But thank you all guys very much for watching. Personally, I wouldn't be here without any of you guys and without this amazing community.